This is Geometry Lesson 6.1, Tangent Properties. So let's start with reviewing some vocabulary words that we did back in chapters 1 and 2. I have A, B, C, D, E, F, G terms, and I want to match those to the pieces that I find on the circle. So I'm going to start with DC. If I look at my circle, I see DC. Let's go with red. DC is right here. So we're looking for, what do we call a segment in a circle that connects 2 points on the circle? And that is called a chord. I'm looking at letter B, it says TG. Here's TG outside of the circle. We call a segment outside a circle that touches the circle exactly one time a tangent. Letter C says OE. I see O, I see E. This is a segment that connects the center of a circle to a point on the circle. That is called a radius. Got some jumping happening. And now letter D. Letter D is the segment A to B. Here is AB. That is a segment connecting 2 points on a circle that hits the center of the circle, and that's called the diameter. Next, I have some arcs. They have round segments or arcs on top of them to know that we're talking about the curved pieces. So first one says arc DB. So the curve that starts from D and ends at B, that is a curve or an arc that goes less than halfway around a circle. That's a minor arc. Next I have ADB. So when you have 3 letters on an arc, that means you start at the first one, go through the point that it lists, and end at the last one. So starting at A, going through D, and ending at B is this arc right here. That's an arc that includes exactly half of the circle. So that's going to be a semicircle. And our last one is AED. And I feel like I'm getting too crowded here, so let's do this. And if I'm looking at AED, I start at A, go towards E, and end at D. That's going to be a major arc because it goes more than halfway around the circle. So, now that we have our vocabulary reviewed, let's talk about tangents. So a tangent was a segment that goes outside the circle, touches a circle at exactly 1 point. I'm going to start by drawing a tangent and the radius that hits the circle at that point of tangency. So let's go tangent right here and radius that hits that tangent. Now this will always, always, always form a 90-degree angle. So a tangent to a circle is perpendicular to the radius drawn at the point of tangency. Remember, perpendicular means we're going to have that 90-degree intersection of those 2 lines. The next one says tangent segments to a circle from a point outside the circle are blank. So I'm going to draw tangent lines that go from the point to the circle. And I think I'm going to try to maybe cheat a smidge to have some pretty straight lines. So starting at my point of my tangent would fall there. And I'm going to do a second line starting at my point and doing my tangent above the circle would fall there. What that does is it creates 2 segments, and my segments ending here to here would be congruent both above and below the circle. So tangent segments to a circle from a point are congruent. They are the same length. So that's it for our rules. Oh, we still have an example. So I'm going to keep going. In the figure, TA and TC are tangent to a circle. So I have TA here, I have TC here. They're tangent to the circle. What is the measure of angle T? So I'm trying to figure out this measurement right here. Now, I know that tangent segments are congruent, so I know this piece and this piece are congruent, the same length. And I also see a couple radii, AN and NC. Those are going to be the same length because they are radii in the same circle. And that gives me a kite now. So there's some things that we need to remember from previous chapters. We should know that a circle makes 360 degrees. We should know that a four-sided shape, squares, kites, rectangles, also make 360 degrees, and that triangles make 180 degrees. If I have 220 degrees on this part of the circle, and I know that a full circle is 360 degrees, if I do 360 minus 220, I'll get this piece of the circle right here. So 360 minus 220 is 140. So I know angle ANC, that's 140 degrees. My new rule up top told me that when a radius hits a tangent, that's going to give me 90. So I'm going to change colors so we can see that 90 degree for that radius and tangent intersection, 90 degree for that radius and tangent intersection. So now my four-sided shape has to add up to 360 degrees. I already have 90, 140, and 90 in 3 out of my 4 corners. So I figure out what's missing to make 360, and I will have my answer for angle T. So we're doing 360, take away the 290s that we know, and take away the 140 that we just calculated up here. So 360, take away 90, take away 90, take away 140, gives me my answer for T. 40 degrees. Measure of angle T is 40 degrees. Okay, that's it for the notes. Don't forget about your circles, 360, squares, 360, triangles, 180, and stick 90s in those corners where your radius hits your tangent. Good luck on your exercises, and please let me know if you have any questions.